there's this hustle culture where everybody just wants to like, oh no, I get home and then I drink more coffee and then I work until midnight and I get up at 3 or some crap. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is the point of that? At the end of the day, let's say you accomplish everything. Let's say you make $1 billion or whatever, but you've destroyed your relationships with your kids. And when I did all those things, I realized that none of them actually made me more happy or more content. It's like, oh, I got this injury, I was abused at this time period. Wrap it up, and then the wraps, the Band-Aids are usually some form. It's not an addiction per se, but it's something you're doing that are compensated for pain.
I'm so excited today. We have Mark, the president of DigitalMarketer, here with me, and we're going to talk about a couple things that are very exciting. But let's begin. Mark, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Mark Grasse, president of DigitalMarketer. I've been president for a little over a year, and we made some big changes since coming in. That was a big transition for me, so it's been fun.
Awesome. If you don't mind, the quick story about your transition from where you were and where you're at right now.
Sure. So I had an agency, marketing agency that I had ran for 6 years. Basically, my whole format was to start people off with a really good-looking brand, good-looking website, send them up the funnel, lead magnet, build the whole system, and then I built tutorials to show people how to use it all. So my whole model was basically trying to teach small businesses to do marketing themselves so they'd create better content. It didn't work. Only about 5% of the time would people take what I built and do it themselves. Most of the time, they would end up just hiring me for the service, or they'd go find another marketer who would be willing to do it. Yeah. So what I found, though, what I realized was I really wanted to teach marketing, and I wanted to teach people who wanted to know about marketing, which are marketers. So I found DigitalMarketer, helped them build their content strategy for a few of the different brands. I knew Richard for a while, so it was an easy transition, and then Ryan asked me to come in. And there you go. Now I get to teach people marketing, which is what I was trying to do in the first place.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And one of the main topics we're going to talk about today is pressure. As a leader coming in with marketing and content and time management, what could you share as leading others and also working around deadlines, also pressure when, life happens personally, professionally? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because you just did the podcast. You're talking about, your clarity and having those sessions every week where you have an hour, you come together and figure it all out. We do the same thing at DigitalMarketer. We have our Big 3 canvas. And so we actually have a Big 3 thing we're supposed to get done every day. We have a Big 3 set for our team for every week. And then we have our quarterly Big 3. So that actually gives a lot of clarity because you could always, so many different things are going to happen, tons of things you don't plan for. And if you don't have something to look back on and be like, oh, hey, here's the thing. Here's what we're supposed to be doing that we said we would do. Does any of this stuff that we're actually doing relate back to our objectives and our goals for the quarter or whatever the time period is? Does it relate? And if it doesn't, then you could throw the thing out the window. Or you could just say, hey, this is an important issue. We're going to go ahead and set this as a bottleneck for a bunch of different issues. And then there you go, or an opportunity. So we have bottlenecks and opportunities, and that's how we differentiate, or that's how we categorize issues we're having or situations we've got to deal with that are urgent now for accomplishing those 3 goals that we have.
Gotcha.
That's one way. You have your personal pressure. I have kids in the house.
Yeah.
A million different things going on too. I like to build different compartments for those situations. So I have my work. So I like separating spaces. Yeah. A lot of people are just, I work online, I work from home.
Yeah. I hate that.
When I go home, I don't want to work.
Yeah.
I have a family.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Yes.
When I get home, I want to spend time with my family, my wife. And a lot of people, there's this hustle culture where everybody just wants to like, oh no, I get home and then I drink more coffee and then I work until midnight and I get up at 3 or some crap. I'm like, what is the point of that? At the end of the day, let's say you accomplish everything. Let's say you make $1 billion or whatever, but you've destroyed your relationships with your kids. I know a lot of successful businessmen that have been married 5 times.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get married 5 times.
No.
I mean, just imagine that. Talk about pressure.
Yes.
You've neglected 5 families.
That is pressure.
That's pressure.
Yeah.
And so your relentless drive for work has created this just horrible personal situation. And so what's more pressure? I think that's more pressure than putting pressure on me at work.
Yeah.
Work's a job. Work is money. As long as I'm surviving, I'm alive.
Yeah. 100%.
I think everybody puts this big demand on themselves. Like I have to get to this level and then at that level. Well, they put like, I'm going to forgo my happiness or I'm going to forgo my feeling of contentment until I reached this, because I was told that I need to beat myself up until I do that. What I did was I did all the things I tried to do. I wanted to build and sell a company. I built and sold a company. I wanted to write a book. I wrote a book. I wanted to build an agency. Built an agency. I wanted to be president of a company. I'm president of a company. And when I did all those things, I realized that none of them actually made me more happy or more content. And so then I went on a personal journey of discovering who I was and, what actually made me happy. And now I'm way happier. It has nothing to do with, all these things I made and all these things I own.
Yeah. And how did you find that transition? How did you find that identity?
That was hard. So finding the identity was basically like, I think everybody has Band-Aids that they put themselves to cover up injuries. It's like, I got this injury, I was abused at this time period, wrap it up, and then the wraps, the Band-Aids are usually some form, it's not an addiction per se, but it's something you're doing that are compensated for pain. So you're maybe drinking too much. That's the default in America, at least. Drinking too much, or maybe you're neglecting your kids, or maybe you're neglecting your wife, or maybe you're, not attending to your hobbies because you're so busy doing work. And so what I did was I got rid of all my Band-Aids. So I changed my entire diet. I stopped drinking. I ran a marathon. So I started exercising more. I started going to church a lot more. I joined men's groups. I did everything. I got rid of everything. And then I said, okay, now that I exposed all my pain, now what can I do? And then that's when the big realizations happened, where it's like, okay, that's why I do things the way I do. That's why all these situations happen, because I was like this. And so now I can look at my whole life and be like, judge everything from a higher perspective and be like, oh, that was stupid. So that's what it took. It was a 2-year process.
Wow.
2 years of just, not being my head against the wall, but it was a focus. Just like we all focus on work. Everybody knows how to work really hard.
Yeah.
But when you say like, hey, you need to work on yourself, people are like, whoa, let me read a book for 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, if you're going to do it for real. Make it hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be confused by it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you're doing great. Why are you beating yourself up? And so if you don't go through that process, though, you're never going to realize anything. And then you're going to keep on doing stuff that you think is going to make a difference. It'll rarely make a difference. You'll just find yourself at just different levels of unhappiness. And then
that's so important, man, for other people to just hear that out. It's just because so many people just hustle, and focus on what is delivered as the marketing piece, but don't realize that the personal piece is as much as important for you to build a business also.
Oh, bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger. Because everybody thinks that it's all about money, or it's all about trying harder, or it's all about these things. And like we talked about, we talked about relationships. Yeah, that's really what does 90% of the work. Like they did a study in terms of professional career growth. I can't remember who did it, but 70% of the people who asked about these are high achieving, like, $300 plus $1,000 a year professionals.
Yeah.
And they said it's relationships. So it's 70%. Like I said, 70% of my success is due to relationships. Nothing to do with working hard. Nothing to do with being an expert at literally anything at 30%. It just had to do with the people you know and how it helped you and your referral network.
Yeah.
Things like that. You'll get way more successful. Just think of your office, and you always have that one jerk that's just busting their butt, making everybody else look like crap.
Yeah.
And nobody likes them.
Yeah.
And they really hard on everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just like, F this person. Wow. They're not going to get it.
No, they're not.
They're working their butts off. Well, and they probably have, like I said, they have that internal pain that's driving them, that's making them make really bad decisions, emotionally or relationship wise, that they just can't recognize. And so, you have to realize, like, 1, you're sort of broken. 2, what are you doing to deal with that brokenness? And usually it's something bad. And then 3, get rid of that and address the pain, and then you're better off.
So that's awesome, man.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's not easy.
It's the whole process.
What was that one decision that said, enough is enough, I'm going to stand up and change or figure this out? What was that decision that came subconsciously?
It was actually my job at DigitalMarketer. Because I really thought, like, okay, once I become the president of a multi-million-dollar company, I'll be happy. Like, I'll be content. I'll feel successful. Everybody will, look at me like, this stuff. And then I did it, and I was like, no, I still feel bad. So I think it was like, it took me so many levels of trying to achieve stuff and then doing it and then realizing, like, okay, here's some more stuff. I think that's, I'm 39, so I'll be 40 next year. So yeah, that aspect. I have 2 kids. One of my sons, one of them is severely autistic.
Yeah.
I have to think about his long-term,
Yeah.
health and happiness. And then my other son, who's going to have to, help him.
Yes.
So I have all these future factors.
Yeah.
I think before it was just me. And so I don't mind if I'm unhappy, or I thought I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I had to refocus everything on other people, on my wife and my kids.
Yes.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so once I had that, like, okay, I got to be around, and I have to be healthy, and I have to be productive, and I have to be all these things. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm unhappy. Like, there's just no way. You reach this level and you're just like, all right, there's just nothing. Well, and so then you start looking inside, and you're like, okay, well, the answer is inside. It's not outside doing stuff.
Okay.
The self-actualization, which is so much harder.
Yeah.
Working is easy.
Yeah.
No, I get up and I do work all day.
Yeah. No, it's not. So we talked about pressure and talked about leadership, leading others and having others on your team. What are the things that you could share that helped you lead others better?
I think the compassion and empathy. And once you can identify and really see yourself and how you are, then you can start seeing it in everybody else. So now I can see, like, okay, you pushing all the time, and you can. Some people have the personality where you can push them really hard and it actually makes them better. Other people have a personality where you can push them really hard, they will break.
Yeah.
And it sounds fun.
I know it's when you do it.
And you break people, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with that situation.
Exactly.
And then, then you're not bringing people up.
Yeah.
The best you could do if you are empathetic and you aren't a good leader is get as much as you can out of people before you break them, and then replace those people. And it's like, that's just a horrible cycle. And there's lots of businesses that do that, where they just hammer, and, the diamonds in the rough, and then you get the diamonds and you build a business off of that. It's very destructive and very taxing, emotionally. Now, you do have those psychopaths or sociopaths. It sounds funny. They've actually done studies about how many CEOs are sociopaths, and they just don't care. Yeah. And what those people are able to do is put the business above everybody, put above themselves, put above their employees, put above even their stakeholders, and say, no, I'm going to make this successful no matter what, and I will destroy everything in my path to make that happen. And those people are, that's a rough way to live. Yeah. So if you might do your personal journey, everybody thinks of the personal journey and they think, oh, you're going to be this hero at the end. You might be the villain, and that's just part that you're playing. Yep. And that's terrible, but that could be you. Yeah. And then now you're free to make all these decisions based on you being like that. Yeah. Which is why you get some really bad people sometimes. Yeah. They realize, like, no, this is who I am. And they're like, whoa, that's terrible. Wow. Anyways, but hopefully you find out that you're a really good person, and then you can start to be a better leader, because now you could really connect with the people that you're leading. That's so good. And then you could develop them. And sometimes you can't. And that's part of the process too. We've had employees where it was like, you know what? We've tried really hard. We've worked together. Yeah. It's not working out. This position is not a good fit. This company is a good fit. The timing is a good fit. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to find somewhere else. Exactly. And it sounds like horrible, because you're like, oh, you got to let people go, but you're helping them in the end, find somewhere better. Hopefully they'll, find themselves better, and then they'll find somebody who could connect with them. You can't connect with everybody. Yeah. 100%. If you're everybody's friend, like, you'll have people say that, like, oh, I'm friend. I could be friends with anybody. And you're like, you're just a shell. You're not my friend. I don't know you. There's people like that. It's like they wear it like a badge of honor. Like, I get along with everybody. And it's like, no. And then, for us, we are, character diamond at DigitalMarketer. I'm trying to make it. Yeah. Ferris Bueller. Yeah. But look at Ferris Bueller. You look at that movie, and he's kind of a dick, and he's kind of a shyster that tricks everybody and does all these things. Yeah. But people like him. Yeah. Everybody's sending him flowers, and I think they sent him a hooker at once. But he was like a guy that was like a doer. Yeah. And he pissed people off. And then he had people who loved him. Yeah. And so that's really, that's what I've realized. Yeah. Is, like, if you don't have both, then you're probably not existing very much. Yeah. And we all want to exist. 100%. Make an impact. Find your dent. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, it's not about the dent, though. It's about living. It's about, like, there's good situations, there's bad situations. Yeah. You're not going to avoid either one. So you might as well get the most you can out of both. Exactly. That's awesome. What are the habits that we share before we end here that you would share with people about mindfulness? Mindfulness, that's a huge part. I'd say one practice, if you really are about mindfulness, because everybody talks about reading books.
Yeah.
And they talk about having experiences. Yeah. They talk about all this stuff. But what I found most helpful is meditation. Like if you can just empty your mind and you could just exist in one spot for 10 minutes a day. Yeah. And this is something you could do for 10 minutes. Yeah. But you have to do it right. And you have to practice. Yeah. You know, meditation is a skill just like any other skill. You're going to suck at it first. Yeah. It's going to be boring. You might fall asleep. You know, it's going to be unique to you. Yeah. So for me, like I found my best meditation spot is listening to Hammock. And
I love it.
On airplanes.
Yeah.
So I have found I actually meditate better when I'm around people. And whereas most people are like, no, sit in the park, you know, you're cross-legged.
Have you ever tried walking meditation?
No, I haven't tried walking. I don't think that would work for me.
Okay.
So I had to do all this stupid running all the time. Yeah. I hate running. Yeah. So I just did it for mental health benefits. But yeah, I thought I would do that. Oh, the runner's high where you just kind of run in and you zone out and it works. And I was just like, nah, it sucked the whole time. Yeah. That is not my jam. Awesome. But yeah, I would say meditate. If you really want to get into it, again, ripping off the Band-Aid. Yep. Get rid of everything. Get rid of everything that makes you comfortable. That's making you stop from being real. And meditation does that. If you can really empty out your mind and you can really focus and just exist for a second. Yeah. Just a little bit.
100%.
You will be so much more mindful. It has nothing to do with books or reading or any of that stuff. Just nothing. That's what you need to find.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, off topic, what's your favorite movie that you don't mind watching over and over again?
You know what? That's kind of funny because with my new mindset, we're talking about the movies aren't as interesting as they were before. Hey. You know, it's funny because I think I was projecting a need for like extreme situations to feel things. Mm-hmm. And so I had a list of movies that I would watch over and over again. Tough. Now I don't have that. Now it either has to be brand new or I have to... No, it just has to be brand new.
Okay. You know. Awesome. Anything new, exciting?
Oh, yeah. If you want something a trip, especially for corporate people. Yeah. Severance. Okay. Watch Severance. Okay. Severance on Apple TV. Okay. It's incredible. Okay. Because it really, like I talked about putting your different lives into compartments. Yeah. This is the most extreme version because what he does, what the show is about, is about a guy who basically gets a procedure. So when he goes to work, it's essentially a different person. It separates your brain. So you can't have memories from the outside or from the inside. So they're independent people, but they're still one person. Wow. And that's what the show is about. That's awesome. That's like, oh my gosh, that would have so many implications. So I would say, Severance. Severance if you want a mind F.
Anything for pressure? Books? Resources?
For dealing with pressure?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't read a lot. Okay. I think that's come from your own experience. I think that takes experience, that takes time. But other than that, man, how could the audience, the people that are watching this, find you?
Oh, go to markdegrasse.com. It's MarkDegrasse. So people say DeGrasse. It's actually pronounced Dugras in French, but I don't do but it's DeGrasse. So markdegrasse.com. That's all my links. I am starting another newsletter, and I have all my personal articles. Usually I go off on rants like I did several times for this. Yeah. Or just give me a topic.
It's perfect. That's awesome. Any last words for this episode?
No, I think if you get anything out of this, then if you could find your Band-Aids, find the things that you're doing that are keeping you comfortable when you're actually very uncomfortable with your life. If you could find those and try to eliminate them, and I'm not saying forever, but if you could find the Band-Aids, eliminate them for a little bit, and then you'll find out way more about who you are because you gotta remove all that crap. It's like A/B testing for marketing. You can't test 60 different factors, and everything I did took 2 years. So you figure I wasn't just like, okay, I gave up alcohol, I started training for a marathon, I gave up all of my food that I was eating that was bad for me, and I gave up this, and I gave up that, and I wouldn't be able to tell what the hell was going on if I did it all at once. So it's a progressive. You have to say, get rid of this, see how you feel. And then get rid of this, see how you feel. And get rid of this, and see how you feel. And then you'll find out once you get rid of everything.
That's awesome. That's so cool, man. Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time and your story. I think this is going to impact a lot of people because it's not just professional, it's personal, and actually having the right courage to stand up and look at your Band-Aids and maybe rip them off. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.